In a world built on beauty, perfection, and the desperate chase for eternal youth, few movies capture the madness of vanity the way Death Becomes Her does. And in its unforgettable final scene, we see two women who once ruled the spotlight reduced to something far more fragile, far more honest, and far more human than they ever expected. This is the ending where immortality stops looking glamorous and starts revealing its true cost. Tonight, we dive into the final moment that proves one simple truth. Sometimes friendship, no matter how complicated, outlives everything else. Madeline Ashton and Helen Sharp never planned to become enemies. In the beginning, their bond was real. Two ambitious women navigating the world together, supporting one another, surviving heartbreak and celebrating success. But admiration has a strange way of turning sour. One small wound becomes jealousy. Jealousy becomes resentment, and resentment becomes a silent battlefield that lasts for years. Madeline wins fame, but loses her soul in the pursuit. Helen wins love, but loses it just as fast when Madeline takes Ernest away. What begins as rivalry becomes obsession, and what begins as hurt becomes a lifelong war. Neither woman is willing to end. They chase validation, youth, and relevance, believing that beauty is the only thing that keeps them alive. And when time finally catches them, they panic, they break, they crumble beneath the fear of being forgotten. That fear leads them to a secret, an impossible promise hidden inside a potion. A single drop delivers eternal youth, flawless beauty, and a life untouched by time. But every miracle has a consequence. Their bodies will last forever, but every scar, every crack, every fall becomes permanent. Immortality is not freedom. It is a prison with a painted smile. By the time we reach the final scene, Madeline and Helen no longer resemble the glamorous icons the world once adored. Madeline's neck twists unnaturally, a reminder of her vanity-fueled accidents. Helen's stomach is hollow, a gaping reminder of the bullet wound that never healed. They patch themselves with paint, glue, and desperation. Every movement threatens to break something new. Every step reveals another flaw they can no longer hide. And then Ernest walks away. The man they fought over for decades, the man they used, wounded, and relied on, finally chooses life. Real life. A life that grows older, wiser, and meaningful. He leaves the women behind, forever stuck in bodies they can't fix, in a future that never changes. For the first time, Ernest chooses himself, and his absence becomes the one thing Madeline and Helen cannot repair. Their panic leads them down the church steps, arguing and tripping over each other like they always have. But this time, fate gives them the one lesson they spent an eternity avoiding. They slip, they fall, their bodies crack, twist, and scatter across the pavement, an immortal disaster. The glamorous fantasy shattered in a moment of dark comedy and brutal honesty. Immortality was supposed to save them from decay. Instead, it magnifies every flaw. And then, lying in pieces on the ground, something unexpected happens. They laugh. They look at each other, broken, twisted, and ridiculous, and they laugh. For the first time in decades, their rivalry disappears. All the bitterness, all the competition, all the resentment melts away. Because in that painful, humiliating moment, they realize the truth. They are stuck with each other forever. The beauty they fought for is gone. The validation they craved is meaningless. The spotlight they worshipped has moved on. But the one thing that remains, the one thing that time, death, and immortality cannot take away, is their bond. It may not be perfect. It may not be healthy. It may not even be functional. But it is real. It is the only constant in their eternal existence. This final scene delivers a message that hits deeper than any beauty secret or Hollywood fantasy. Youth fades no matter how tightly you hold on to it. Fame disappears no matter how brightly you shine. The world eventually moves on, no matter how loudly you scream for attention. But connections, the people who know your flaws, your failures, your secrets, That is what stays, that is what lasts, that is what survives the fall. In an ironic twist, Madeline and Helen finally become what they were always meant to be, partners in chaos. Two souls bound together by their choices, their mistakes, and the strange comfort of having someone who understands the curse they carry. Their friendship isn't perfect, it isn't gentle, it isn't even peaceful, but it is unbreakable in the one way that matters most. They never walk through eternity alone. The final moment of death becomes her is more than comedy, more than tragedy, more than a twist ending. It is a reflection of Hollywood itself, a world chasing eternal youth while ignoring the consequences, a world where beauty becomes a prison and perfection becomes a burden. Madeline and Helen represent every fear the industry hides: aging, irrelevance, and the belief that worth disappears with time. Yet the film gives them something greater than beauty. It gives them each other. And in the end, that is the one thing that truly never dies. This is Hollywood Untold Stories. Like, share, and subscribe for more untold moments.